Welcome back to another Indie Games Wednesday, the show where we take a look at games being developed by small teams with a small budget and who might need a small boost in recognition by a small YouTube channel with a small number of subscribers. So fittingly, we're talking about infinitesimals, a word which, according to Google, means extremely small or an indefinitely small quantity, a value approaching zero, which could describe not only my channel, but also the budget of this game. That being said, infinitesimals does not in any way describe the level of creativity that seems to be pouring into this game. It instead refers to the scale of the civilizations at war in this world. Civilizations 1 millimeter tall that have developed to become technological powerhouses. Civilizations which, though small, fight for dominance just like us relatively big, dumb humans. When I first came across this game, it was described as Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but the kids were never saved, and so they had no other choice but to survive in their new scale. Then after many generations, their offspring eventually developed into very tiny, technologically advanced civilizations. Now I don't think that is actually the story of this game, but it certainly piqued my interest. I had no other choice but to dive in and read what I could to learn more about this world. Though the game still seems a long way from being released, with a lot of elements not finalized, there was enough to capture my attention and land this game on my list of indie titles to keep an eye on. The work seen in this footage is even more impressive when you know just how small the development team is. Infinitesimals is being developed by Cubit Studios, which consists of just 2 people working with Unreal Engine 4. That's a lot of tasks for each person. But still, their YouTube channel is packed full of videos showing all the different systems they have developed. Perhaps the most impressive of which is the Ajaxian gyropod. It seems as though the pod is the player's main vehicle, and it can be upgraded and enhanced in a number of different ways. The vehicle is so unique, and just seeing it in this form is intriguing, but once you see all the different variations possible, the pod becomes what I believe could be an iconic video game vehicle. It's just not quite like anything I've seen before. The pod isn't the only thing players will be commandeering, however. Players will also be exploring this gigantic world with a bug-like dropship, as well as actual bugs. Players will be able to jump on the backs of these creatures and harness their natural abilities, much like us humans utilize a horse and its tremendous amount of stamina. The possibilities of these gameplay mechanics are endless. I can imagine air combat between one flying bee and another. I can see riding ants into battle, fighting creatures and machines alike. Perhaps jumping from an ant to the pod and onto the dropship to escape an overwhelming enemy. The game is still in development, and this footage doesn't give us too many clues as to what the final gameplay will actually look like. But the potential is certainly there. And judging by what they have released so far, they clearly know what they're doing. The concept is there, the design is there, the talent is there. This game, although a ways from release, seems to have everything going for it. One major thing on their side is the UK Game Fund, which has selected Cubit Studios to receive a grant to help bring their project to completion. The amount of the grant is unknown, but for a small studio like Cubit Studios, I'm sure any amount of financial support is welcomed. I'm sure it's also a moral boost when people see the potential in your work and want to offer their support. When searching through their YouTube channel, it's hard to believe that the team only consists of 2 people. While the world is not complete in a lot of this footage, the systems that they are displaying are top-notch, and it's top-notch across a range of disciplines. Here is an example of the sound design. There are AAA games that don't sound this good. Here's an example of some of the weather effects. And the overall modeling and design is amazing throughout. It's crazy to me that 2 people can excel in so many different areas. It honestly makes me feel like I should be doing so much more with my life. Of course, it's one thing to see all these systems showcased, and another thing to bring them all together into an enjoyable game. So we'll have to wait and see how development continues. But hey, if they can do all of this already, I'd be willing to bet on them to bring all of this together into an enjoyable experience. And apparently, the UK Game Fund feels the same way. Some other stuff that I found extremely interesting was the early 2D concept art and animations. I always love to watch how these games progress through development, and these 2D concepts show the beginning of the idea that we now see in 3D. Watching these animations is like watching the seeds of an idea just as they're starting to bloom. Not only does it capture the beginnings of the design of the vehicles in the game and their movement, it also offers a glimpse into what we might expect from the gameplay. Of course, the game has changed a lot already and is sure to change more, but it shows the ideas behind attacking enemies. It shows the ways in which the pod can be used to fool enemies, how it can operate and move around in its environment. Honestly, I would play this game in its 2D form, but 3D opens up a whole new range of potential. And with a concept like this, playing as a very small creature in a gigantic world, I think 3D will do a better job of conveying that sense of scale. Finally, one thing that I haven't mentioned about this game so far is that although these creatures are very tiny, they are also spacefaring. They are capable of reaching space, and this will be my one criticism of the game. But also, keep in mind that the people making this game, they know what they're doing, and I'm what most people would call dumb. On top of that, I don't know the story that is in development, so obviously this is an early criticism which is very likely to change. That being said, I feel as though that one of the largest appeals of this game is the scale, and creating that sense of scale is paramount. The problem with space is that all scale seems to be lost. Space will look just, well, normal. But again, this is just a quick thought from someone who is not close to the inner workings of the game's development. Either way, this game has me extremely excited, and it's a game that I will surely be following, and I suggest you do the same. As for the overall story and how all of these systems come together, we'll just have to wait and see. But again, these devs really seem to have a strong vision. They have the skill and they know what they're doing. So I believe that following this game's development won't be fruitless. And you can watch the development progress by heading on over to the Cubit Studios YouTube channel and following them on Twitter at Cubit Studios. This is a game with great potential, and I wish Cubit Studios the best of luck moving forward. That's all for this episode of Indie Games Wednesday. As always, thanks for watching and keep on supporting indies.